Hi folks, welcome back to Stacey Can. Today I'm pickling pearl onions. And they are fantastic for your, like, making cocktails or put them on a charcuterie board or just eating them out of a jar. You do whatever you want here. So the recipe that I am completely modifying is down below in the show notes. And so you can, while you're down there, hit like and subscribe as I go over all of this. And the reason why I am modifying it is the National Center for Home Food Preservation, this recipe is from them, calls for 2 cups of sugar. And that is a lot of sugar. A lot of sugar. And I've had conversations with my extension office over this, like, why are we putting so much sugar in these pickled items? I personally can't have that much sugar. That's a lot for me. And I also don't like, when it comes to pickled items, I don't like sweet pickles. I don't like sweet things in. And when you buy these in the store in a jar, they don't have sugar in them. So anyway, the reason why they often add sugar to things is because, especially in a home canning situation, because you can't get the heat up as high as possible, is the sugar helps kind of like, it gets into the cell of the vegetable and keeps it plump and firm. It's what sugar can do. So, but I still think that's a lot of sugar and I am going to modify. So the ingredients that you need here calls for 8 cups of peeled white pearl onions. You can get 4 10-ounce bags, and these are 6-ounce bags. So, and they were the only 4 that I could get at the store. So I'm just using these. And then 8 teaspoons of mustard seeds, and that's optional. And then 4 teaspoons of celery seed, that's optional as well. You can kind of season it how you want when it comes to pickling. The brine is my personal brine that I use for when I make my dilly beans and also pickled carrots. And it's 4 cups of white vinegar or vinegar, but it has to be 5% vinegar. You can't do a white wine vinegar or red wine vinegar in this. It has to be, and it's often, I've only seen 5% in your white distilled vinegar or in apple cider vinegar. I think for the onions, apple cider vinegar would be too strong, but I do use apple cider vinegar when I make pickled onions, pickled carrots, and pickled dilly beans. And then 4 cups of water and 1/2 cup of pickling salt. But because I'm gonna cut this in half, so that's just normal with the brine, and the reason why I'm cutting the brine recipe in half, so it'll end up being 2 cups of vinegar, 2 cups of water, and 1/4 cup of pickling salt, is because I could not get 10-ounce bags of the onions. I'm not gonna have 8 cups of peeled onions because this is all they had at the store. Moving on. So those are the ingredients that you need. Now the tools that we need is, you need your funnel, your jar lifter. We will be bubbling today, so I have my chopstick. I've got my my Headspace tool, because we were using a half-inch Headspace today, which is pretty standard for pickling. My lid lifter, because I will be heating the lids, and my ladle here. Got some measuring spoons. I don't have a knife right here, but I will, because we do have to cut off the root end of the onion. But the other things that we need are, because it only makes about, it says 3 to 4 pints, because I have less than this, it might be 2 pints, and I might even switch it to little 1/2 pint jars because I just don't have a lot, but we'll see. And then you also need, a pot to boil your brine in, and then we also need a pot it's very loud, not only to boil our lids, but this is how we're gonna do our, how we're gonna peel. We're gonna peel the onions by putting them in some boiling water and using a sieve to pull them out. Or you can even use just, a nice scooper to scoop them out, because we need to do that. So we're gonna be boiling these for just like a minute. And then after we pull them out of the boiling water, we're gonna cool them quickly in an ice bath. So I've got a bowl for an ice bath, and that will help peel the onions quicker. So with all that, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna get started on the brine first, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pour in the 2 cups of water, because remember I'm just halving this, and then adding in 2 cups of vinegar. And then 1/4 cup of pickling salt. And I'm gonna get this up going kind of, I'm just gonna do it medium high, and I am gonna cover it because I do want to dissolve this, and you can stir it if you would like, and which is a good idea, just to kind of help get the salt dissolved. Then I'm also gonna set it off to the side and on medium heat and get going on peeling the onions. Some recipes say 30 seconds, others say 3 minutes to allow these to boil in some water before cutting and peeling. I'm gonna do a minute and see how we go there today. We're gonna quickly dump these in. And I am setting the timer here. And I've got my bowl of ice water right next to it as well. Okay, so a minute has up, and we're gonna scoop these out and immediately put these in the ice bath for another full minute. The 1 minute timer has gone off, so I am just cutting the root end. It says like 1/16 of an inch. I think that's pretty small. I'm just cut the root end off like that, and then you take the other end and you just give it a good squeeze, and they pop right out. Look at that, isn't that great? Simple, simple, simple. Now I got my brine boiling here, and I'm gonna go ahead and add the peeled onions to it. Added the onions, and I'm just gonna bring it up to a boil very quickly, and then we will simmer them for 5 minutes. Okay, it's come to a boil, so I'm gonna go ahead and reduce the heat to a simmer, and we'll simmer for 5 minutes. All right, I got the jars heating up in the canner. I'm using a stock pot today because it's only probably gonna make 2 pint jars instead of 3 to 4 like a full recipe would, because remember I only had so many onions. I'm gonna go ahead and add a couple of a teaspoon. I'm just doing a teaspoon of mustard seeds because that's all mustard seeds I had. I thought I had more, I didn't. So we're just doing 1 instead of 2 teaspoons so I can fill it up. And then I'm also doing a teaspoon of celery seeds. And then we're just gonna ladle the onions into the jar. Bubble these, you wanna make sure to bubble really well. And check our headspace. Nope, we need just a little bit more liquid. Got that here really well. So I got the right amount of liquid, and then I'm just gonna use the lid water because I am heating the lids, and just cleaning the rim. Got my lid lifter here. And my ring, and we're doing it fingertip tight. Ooh, it's hot potato, so be careful. And we're gonna just lift it up and over and into this stock pot here. Do not tip or tilt. Got the jars in the pot here, and I've got the heat up to high and waiting for it to come to a rolling boil. Got a rolling boil going, so I've set the timer for 10 minutes for my altitude. For more altitude information, just look below in the show notes or off to the side here. The timer went off, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut the heat. The timer went off, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut the heat, and then very carefully lift the lid away from your face. Look at all that steam. If you don't, you'll end up with a facial you don't want. And I'm gonna set another timer for 5 minutes to let the food in the jars here settle. Now, I probably could have put these just in some half-pint jars. It would have been fine instead of the full pints, because I think it probably made more like a pint and a half. But I already have the jars all heated up, ready to go, and I don't care that it's kind of floaty. Works for me. These should be ready, I don't know, I'd give them at least a week or 2. That's my opinion, maybe a little longer. It didn't really specify. If you're just making refrigerator ones, you can do all this and just put it in the refrigerator too. You don't have to can these. But a lot of folks say let it come to room temperature first before putting it in the refrigerator, and let it refrigerate it for at least an hour before eating. So might be able to get away with this a little bit sooner too. Depends on how picky you want it. Those recipes are also called for sugar. So you can, you do you on the sugar piece. It's up to you. So that is how we do it. The recipe and the modified recipe is down below in the show notes, as is the original recipe for the National Center for Food Preservation. And while you're down there, hit like and subscribe because that does help. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, feedback, concerns, by all means, please reach out to me. I'm on Facebook at Stacey Can Can. You can add me on Instagram and TikTok at Stacey Can Can. My website is www.staceycancan.com, and my email is info@staceycancan.com, as well as LinkedIn at Stacey Can Can. Thanks so much for joining me today, and until next time, happy canning.